Hey, this is Mr. Ayton. This is How to Crush AP Chemistry before day one. If you want to get a 5 on your AP exam, if you want to succeed all year long, this is what you need to know before walking into an AP Chemistry class. You got to know how to do the big 5 calculations. If you can do these big 5 calculations, if you can master these things, you're going to be set all year long. And let's go through each one of them. The first one is, what happens if you have grams? If you have grams, if you're given grams, always divide by molar mass to get moles. Divide by molar mass to get moles, which means if you have moles, you can multiply by molar mass in order to get grams. What happens if you're being given molar concentration or molarity or moles per liter? You want to multiply by liters to get moles, which means, look conversely, if you take moles and divide by liters, you're going to get molarity or moles per liter. But you also have to know how to do a titration or a dilution. It's an easy formula. It's M1V1 equals M2V2. Easy calculation, but you got to recognize when you're doing a titration or dilution, use M1V1 equals M2V2. If you're given gases, you're going to go right to PIVNERT. PV equals nRT. Pressure times volume equals moles times R, which is the universal gas constant, times temperature. And last but not least, you got to be able to set up a proportion or a ratio. Almost everything in chemistry is proportional, which means if you can set up a proportion, you can solve almost anything in AP Chemistry. Let's go through examples of each one. We'll start with our grams divided by molar mass giving us moles. You can see it says here, calculate the amount of thermal energy in kilojoules required to vaporize 6.85 grams of HF. Now, they gave us grams of HF. What do we do as soon as we see grams? Divide by the molar mass. How do we find the molar mass? Just add it up on your periodic table. We have HF. H is 1.008. Fluorine is 19, which adds up to 20.008. So you take your grams, you divide by molar mass, and look at what we get, 0.342 moles of HF. You can see, I didn't write all the numbers that came out on my calculator. I just wrote 3 significant digits. Always round to 3 significant digits. 0.342, 3 significant digits, moles, that's its units, and HF, what it's assigned to. You always want to round to 3 significant digits. You want to put your units and what it's assigned to. And the reason you're always going to put your units and what it's assigned to is when you go to set up a proportion later on, if you have units and what it's assigned to, setting up the proportion and solving is really, really easy. Now, what happens if we've been given moles? You can see in this problem, we have 0.0114 moles of carbon dioxide, and we want to know the number of grams. What do we do if we have moles and we want to find grams? We're going to multiply by molar mass. How do I find the molar mass? Just add it up on your periodic table. Carbon's 12, oxygen's 16. That adds up to 44 grams per mole. So you take those moles, you multiply by the molar mass, and look at what I get. 0.502, 3 significant digits. Grams, that's units, carbon dioxide, what it's assigned to. Always around the 3 significant digits, put your units and what it's assigned to. Let's move on to molar concentration or molarity or moles per liter. You're going to take your molarity and you're going to multiply by liters to get moles. Well, take a look at what we got. Here we have 100.0 milliliters of 0.340 molar NaCl. That word of in chemistry is a giveaway. That word of means multiply. And we're going to take our 0.340 molar and we're going to multiply by liters. You can see 100.0 milliliters changes into 0.100 liters. How do you do that? Just divide by 1,000. Move that decimal place 3 places because there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. And when I multiply those two things, take a look at what I get. 0.0340 moles of CO2. You can see I rounded the 3 significant digits, 0.0340. Moles is units. Carbon dioxide is what it is assigned to. In this one, you can see it says calculate the molar concentration. And they gave me moles of Ag+, and they gave me milliliters of distilled water. So what are we going to do? We're going to change those 250 milliliters into 0.250 liters. How do I do that again? Divide by 1,000. Move that decimal place 3 places. And I put my 0.450 moles of Ag+ over my liters of Ag+, and I get 1.80, 3 significant digits, moles per liter, or you could say molarity of Ag+, units and what it's assigned to. Well, when you have titrations and dilutions, what are you going to use? You're going to use M1V1 equals M2V2. Take a look here. We've been given a titration curve, which means I'm going to use that equation, M1V1 equals M2V2. Take a look at the problem. It says 10.0 milliliters of HASC. That's a weak acid. And so I know the volume of the weak acid. And I use 0.0550 molar of NaOH. Look at the titration curve. Look at the x-axis of that titration curve. We use 0.0550 molar of NaOH. Now look how much volume I need to put in to get to the equivalence point. Remember, the equivalence point is where that pH skyrockets up, where it's kind of undefined. And you can see we put in 16.0 milliliters of 0.0550 molar, which means when I set up my equation, I put my 0.0550 molar of 16 milliliters. That was my NaOH on one side. My weak acids on the other side, that HASC with 10 milliliters. I do some algebra and I find my concentration of the HASC, 0.0880, 3 significant digits, molar, that's units, HASC, that's what it's assigned to. So when you're given a titration, put your base on one side, your acid on the other side, one substance on one side, the other substance on the other, and you can fill that out. Now, we're also going to use this for any dilution. You can see, calculate the volume in milliliters of, which means that of means multiply. That means the volume and the 2.40 times 10 to the negative 3 molar, those are together. That's required to produce 100.0 milliliters of 1.68 times 10 to the negative 3 molar. Those are going to be together as well, which means when I set up my M1V1 equals M2V2, can you see I put the 1.68 times 10 to the negative 3 molar with the 100.0 milliliters, the standard dilution on one side. On the other side, I put 2.40 times 10 to the negative 3 times V2 because I don't know that volume. That was the stock standard. And when I do my division, my multiplying and dividing, I get 70.0 milliliters of the stock standard, which makes logical sense. Think about it. You're only going to take 70 milliliters of the very concentrated solution to make 100 milliliters of a dilution. It's always got to be a little bit less. Now, if you think about it, a question might be, Mr. Ayton, do I have to change this milliliters into liters on this one? You don't, because milliliters is on one side, milliliters is on the other side. Those units cancel out. The fourth of the big five calculations is PV-NRT, PV equals nRT. And if you take a look at your equation sheet for PV-NRT, you can see we have to change the temperature in the Kelvin, which means degrees Celsius plus 273.15 gives you Kelvin. If you're already in Kelvin, you don't need to change it. Now, there's two universal gas constants for R. There's 8.314 joules per mole per Kelvin, and there's 0.08206 liters atmospheres per mole per Kelvin. Which one do you use? We're not going to use the 8.314 number. Why? Because that's joules. That is energy. Joules is energy. We're not doing energy here. We're doing gases. So we're going to use 0.08206 because liters, atmospheres, moles, Kelvin, this is gases, which means in the problem you can see it said we're heated to 198 degrees Celsius. What do I have to do? I have to change that to Kelvin. I have to add 273.15. You can see the pressure is 2.30 atmospheres. The volume is 12.5 liters. I'm going to divide by 0.08206. I'm going to divide by the temperature and take a look at what I get. I get my moles, 0.744. That's 3 significant digits. Again, round the 3 significant digits. Moles, that's units. And total gas, that's what it is assigned to for PV-NRT. Now, the last of the big five calculations is setting up a proportion. I know, seems pretty easy. Middle school math, setting up a proportion. But almost everything in chemistry is proportional. Whenever they give you a balanced reaction, you have proportions all over the place here. You just have to see what things you need to do to set up the proportion. So let's say I want to look at the proportion between moles of Ag and moles of Ag2S. Look at your balance equation. We have 2 moles of Ag for every 1 mole of Ag2S, which means if you know the moles of Ag2S, you can know the moles of Ag. If you know the moles of Ag, you can know the moles of Ag2S. You can set up a proportion, cross multiply, and find either one of those. Sometimes you're given a chemical reaction that looks like this. This is a reduction reaction. Aluminum plus 3 electrons gives you aluminum solid. I can set up a proportion. Let's say I want to set up the proportion of 1 mole of aluminum for every 3 moles of electrons, because in your reaction, there's 1 aluminum, 3 moles of electrons, which means if you know the moles of electrons, you know the moles of aluminum. If you know the moles of aluminum, you can know the moles of electrons. All you have to do is cross multiply. Take a look here. This one's an interesting one. You can see they gave us a reaction. They gave us a delta H, and look at that delta H. It's negative 1148 kilojoules per mole of the reaction. Now, what that per mole of the reaction means is it's for, look at the reaction again. Go to the left and look at the reaction. That's for every 1 mole of P4, for every 6 moles of Cl2, and for every 4 moles of PCl3. So you have to set up that proportion very carefully. And take a look. I'm just going to pick out the PCl3 here and set up its proportion. So that's negative 1148 kilojoules for every, not 1 mole, but 4 moles of PCl3. Why? Because in the balanced reaction, there's 4 moles of PCl3, which means if I know the moles of PCl3, I can know the kilojoules of heat. If I know the kilojoules of heat, I can know the moles of PCl3. It is a simple proportion there that you have to set up. Sometimes you're given constants on your equation sheet, constants like Faraday's constant, which is 96.45 coulombs for every per 1 mole of electrons. What can we do? Set up our proportion. 96.45 coulombs for every 1 mole of electron, which means if you know the moles of electrons, you know the coulombs. If you know the coulombs, you know the moles of electrons. You just need to cross multiply when you're given constants like this. Let's say we're dealing with gases. Now, how many total particles do we have? Count up your total particles. Look at the H2s. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those particles. Look at the COs. We have 1, 2, 3 of those. Look at the CH3OH. We only have 1 particle. How many total particles do we have? We have 10 total particles. Look at the question. They want us to calculate the partial pressure of just the CO. Well, how many COs do we have? We have 3 moles for every 10 total moles. So we have a proportion. Look at, in the question, they told us the total pressure is 12.0 atmospheres, which means if you have 3 moles of CO for every 10 moles total, and the pressure is 12 atmospheres total, you can know the pressure of just CO, which is 3.6 atmospheres of CO, using a proportion. If we wanted to find the H2, it would be 6 out of 10. If you wanted to know the CH3OH, it would be 1 out of 10, because almost everything in chemistry is proportional. Now we're going to take our big 5 calculations and we're going to put them all together. And I'm going to show you some multi-step things. Take a look here. You can see we have CH3OH. And look in the problem, they gave us 8.59 grams of CH3OH. What do we do when we see grams? We know what we do right away. We take grams, divide by molar mass. They gave us the molar mass, and we get moles. And we get 0.268, again, I rounded to 3 significant digits, 0.268 moles of CH3OH. Why did I put units and what it's assigned to? Because I'm going to be able to set up a proportion. But as soon as you get grams, go in the moles. After you get moles, set up a proportion. Look in the table. In the table, you can see the enthalpy of vaporization says 37.6 kilojoules per mole. I'm going to just set up a proportion. 37.6 kilojoules for every 1 mole of CH3OH. That's what the proportion is. And remember, what did I just find? I found 0.268 moles of CH3OH. So that goes on the denominator on the other side. You can cross multiply, and that means we can find there's 10.1 kilojoules of heat to vaporize CH3OH. And so that was putting these two things together. Let me give you another example. Here you can see we have a reaction, a balanced reaction, which means right away you go, I have a proportion. You can see we want to know how many grams of Cl gas can be formed from 1.25 moles of AlCl3. Well, I've been given moles of AlCl3, but I need to find Cl, not AlCl3. So I'm going to go to my balance reaction. Look at my balance reaction. For every 1 mole of AlCl3, there's 3 moles of Cl, which means if I know there's 1.25 moles of AlCl3, I can find out how many moles of just Cl I have. All I have to do is cross multiply, and I get 3.75, again, rounding to 3 significant digits, moles of Cl gas. Well, what do I do with moles of Cl gas if I want to find grams? I'm just going to multiply by its molar mass to get grams. And I get out 133 grams of Cl gas. Again, rounded to 3 significant digits. I put the units and what it is assigned to. That was putting it all together. Let me give you one more example. In this example, they gave me a balance equation, and they gave us moles of electrons, and they want to know grams of Cr. Well, look at the balance reaction. I'm going to set up a proportion. For every 1 mole of Cr solid, we have 6 moles of electrons. That comes from the balance reaction, which means if I know there's 0.505 moles of electrons, I can know how many moles of just chromium there are. There's 0.0842 moles of chromium. Again, round the 3 significant digits, I put my units and what it's assigned to. Because once you know moles, you can know all kinds of things. You can see I want to know the number of grams, so I multiply by the molar mass of 52 grams per mole for chromium, and I get 4.38 grams of chromium. And that was putting it all together. Let me show you another one. We want to calculate the mass of iron that's reacted to generate 0.191 kilojoules of heat. Now, take a look. We have a reaction. There's negative 1650 kilojoules per mole of reaction. What are we trying to look at? We're trying to look at iron. That's Fe. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set up a proportion. Negative 1650 kilojoules for every 4 moles of Fe, because that's per mole of reaction. I know that's 0.191 kilojoules of heat, which means I can cross multiply to find the moles of iron. And look at what I get. I get 0.000463, round to 3 significant digits, moles of iron. And what do I do if I want to find grams? I'm going to multiply by molar mass, and I get 0.0259 grams of iron. And that was putting it all together. This is how to crush AP Chemistry before day 1. If you want that 5, follow MrAyton.com, follow my YouTube channel, and you're on your way to a 5. Thanks, guys.